Today, we are going to get ourselves used to modeling a situation with an equation. This is where we take all that work that we've done, and all that work meaning solving equations, what we've done with that, and we decide how it's actually used. How can it be useful? So what do you need right now? You need a piece of paper and you need something to write with. All right, here's what we're going to do with this paper. It's going to look familiar at first. We're going to fold in half this direction. We're going to fold in half opposite from that. Fold in half opposite from that. And then I'm going to get these folds nice and flat. And you know what that means? That means we're going to fold it one more time. One more time like this. And don't panic. This doesn't mean we're doing 32 questions. We're actually doing 8 questions. So we need a little bit more setup to see how we're going to do this. Let's go ahead and unfold your paper. Then this is what we're going to do next. We are actually going to, I'm going to take my pen here. You can use a pen or a pencil. And I'm going to trace this line vertically from the top all the way down to the bottom. This is the halfway line that cuts the page in half vertically. And then we're also going to draw the one that cuts it in half horizontally. So trace along this fold. Okay. And then you're also going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, so I'm going to trace this line vertically. And then trace this line horizontally. All right, here's what this means. This means that this entire box is going to go along with story 1. Okay, so I'm just going to put a 1 up here and you'll see what I mean in a second. So you can see you still have your folds there. You actually have 4 boxes in this story 1 box. And then this is story 2. This is story 3. We need all that space for story 3. This is story 4. This is story 5. This is story 6. Story 7, and of course, story number 8. Now, we've set it up this way because we're really going to break this down and make sure we're very, very clear on what it is we need and what it is we're trying to find. Okay, so what you're going to see as you scroll down after you watch this video is you are going to see these stories in Canvas. Okay, so I have story 1. This is also in Canvas, but you'll already be done with stories 1 and 2 by the time you're done with this video. It says, at the bowling palace, shoe rental is $3 and each game is $2. If Haley has $15 to spend at the bowling alley, how many games can she bowl? Here is the very first thing you should do on all of these questions always. And I'm actually going to color code this and do different things in different colors just for fun because, you know, that's what I like to do. So in this first box, so we actually have 4 boxes, right? In this first box, you need to tell me what is the question? What are you being asked? What is the question even asking you? So this is, and it's almost always at the end with the question mark, how many games can she bowl? So the question they are asking you is right there. We just copy it. I'm going to write that in this box. How many games can she bowl? That's the question. That got a little squishy, but that word is can, C-A-N. How many games can she bowl? That's the question. Okay, so that's what you're going to put in the first box here. So on all of these problems, this very first box, you're going to tell yourself, what is the question asking? Okay, what is the question asking? All right, we'll come back and do another example on that in just a second, but let's look at what we're supposed to write in the next box, okay? In the next box, it always goes along with this first box. So this next box is going to be assigning a variable, okay? Maybe we'll even underline this so that we know this one is a heading. What's the question? All right, and assign a variable, okay? That is always going to go directly along with this. Whatever the question is asking is what your variable should be. And you can choose whatever letter you want to, okay? Let's just, for the sake of, because after this you're gonna have to type some things into Canvas, and I don't want you to get things wrong because we all picked different letters. For the sake of this, let's just use X for everything. Is that okay? We all right with that? So what we're gonna say is X, what does X represent? Well, if the question is how many games can she bowl, then X is number of games. Once you decide what the question is asking, you then assign a variable for that question. It's all about the unknown. The unknown is whatever is being asked of you. Okay, all right, in this third box, we are going to tell ourselves some important information. So I'm just gonna write info here. So in this question, I'm gonna bring this down here so you guys can see it. Shoe rental is $3. So I'm gonna give myself some keywords here. I'm gonna say, okay, shoes are $3. Okay, each game is $2. So I'm gonna write it like this, $2 per game. Giving myself some important info also with some key words. That's going to help me too. If Haley has $15, this is a total. She has a total of $15. Okay, so here's what I've now put together from this story. I know what the question is asking. I've assigned myself a variable, and I've given myself some important information. Okay, just for fun, I'm gonna turn my paper sideways for this final box. The final box is where the ever important, I'm gonna turn it this way. And just a fun fact, if you're right-handed, it will feel right to you to turn it sideways this way. If you're left-handed, it's probably gonna feel right to you to turn it this way. Do whatever direction works for you, but I'm left-handed, so I'm gonna turn it this way. So I'm gonna put in this final box, this is supposed to be an equation that models this situation. This is where I have to put all of this stuff together to make an equation. The variable's gonna be in there, X, and then all this important information is gonna be in there as well. If X is the number of games, which one of these values do you think goes along with X? Is it shoes? No, because that has nothing to do with the number of games. Is it the total? No, because that doesn't go along with number of games. If it's $2 per game, then I need to do 2 times X. $2 per game means 2 goes with the games, so 2 goes with the variable. See that? If X is the number of games and it's $2 per game, then it makes sense to do 2 times X. Well, what else gets added to this cost? The $3 for the shoe rental, and it equals the total amount. You don't have to do anything with that equation today. All you have to do is get to that equation. Your goal is to get to the equation, okay? So we took all this information that we gathered from our story. We wrote down what is the question asking. We made a variable out of what the question is asking. We listed important information, and then we put all of that together. All of these boxes lead us toward the equation box, okay? All of those lead us to that. Let's try it one more time. Here's story number 2. Suppose you are saving money to buy a digital camera that costs $340. You have already saved $120 and plan to save $20 each week. Oh, there's my question. How many weeks will you need to save? Just going to copy that right here so that my brain is processing it. How many weeks will you need to save? How long? How many weeks will you need to save? Okay, step number 2 was to use that question to define a variable. Well, my variable is going to be number of weeks. It always goes right along with whatever the question is asking. If the question wants to know how many weeks will you need to save, well, then your variable, your unknown, is number of weeks. It's this unknown, this thing we're trying to find. Okay, let's list some important info in this question. Okay, here's what I see. The camera costs $340. That sounds like a total to me. If you can find the total, you can find the part that your equation is equal to. Okay, so that's important. The total is $340. You already have $120. That's an amount you already have. You have it. You have that. Okay, and you need $20 per week, or each week. Those are synonyms, right? $20 each week, $20 per week. All right, let's take all of this information and let's bring it together into this box where we're going to get, I'm going to turn my paper sideways and I'm going to bring it all together to get an equation. I think it's easiest to try and figure out which of these important pieces of information gets stuck to my variable. If my variable is number of weeks, and one of these values is per week. If it's $20 per week and X is number of weeks, then I'm going to write 20X. $20 per week plus the $120 I already have is equal to the total I need. Your goal today is just to gather all this important information from the story and bring it all together to write an equation. You don't have to do anything else with the equation, just get to the equation. You have 6 more stories to do. So you are going to now scroll down, look at those stories, go through all these steps in these other boxes, take a picture, 2 pictures, front and back of all the great work that you do, and then submit that. Good luck, you guys can do it.